What's up with it? It's me, Cornelius Cole, the People's Coach, hitting you up with the diehard fan. Man, if you're a diehard fan of any sport this past week, has been great. Um, a lot of things leading up to this Wednesday. But I'm gonna jump right in and I'm gonna start with them Stros, man. Stros, the struggling Stros, man. Y'all beat the Yankees like they was nothing, beat the Mariners like they was nothing. Look like y'all can beat everybody in that American League like they nothing. But then it comes to Philly and y'all struggling a little bit. What's up with that? What's up with that, Stros? Where the bats at? All of a sudden the bats went cold. The bats not hitting like they was. What's the deal? Let me know where it's at. Yeah. What I'm seeing is Philly wanting it more. Philly coming out with more passion, and that's from pitching. That's from pitching to just making all the plays. It looks like Philly is definitely on top of their game. I mean, the Astros got blanked last night. 7-0. Let's hope that doesn't happen tonight. I was looking for a good World Series. Whether they win it in 6 or 7 is up to them. But man, you got to admit, the Phillies look like they serious. They the real deal. Don't know where they came from to get in this whole playoff picture, but look like they're in the World Series for a reason. Bryce Harper looks like he's ready to do it. Altuve, where you at? The bats better wake up for the Astros. They're gonna be out of there. I mean, after putting up 2 5 pieces in the first couple of games last night, weren't able to do nothing. Now they in the 2-1 hole. We're gonna see how Dusty Baker had those boys respond. Um, Come on, hometown, do something with it. Now, um, with a quick shout out to Sports for America for putting me on. Uh, man, sports. It's been a lot going on this past week, like I said. So we'll go right to the NBA real quick. And we'll talk about some interesting things that's going on. The Lakers did get a win. They finally got a win. Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. Um, Maybe that's a good thing that Russ is coming off the bench. Maybe that'll help them in the long run. But I don't see the Lakers going anywhere. Anyway, I don't want to spend a lot of time on LA. What I want to talk about last week, I alluded to the fact that Kawhi Leonard needs to come on with it and get on the court. But it seems like it's not Kawhi that's holding him out. It seems like it's the team, it's the organization. Tyronn Lue said he frustrated, so Kawhi wants to play. But why is he not allowed to play if that's his choice to play? What are they preserving for? The season's already started. I think my problem with the NBA right now is all the top teams that we expected to be on top. They're not coming out with any fire thinking it's a long season, we can work our way into it and we'll be somewhere around the top, or as long as we make the playoffs or something. I see Phoenix clicking. I see a surprise team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, which I'm gonna get to them in a minute because they really are surprising, and I didn't think they would be that good. But the teams that you thought, the Clippers, the Brooklyn Nets, man, when I get on that subject, that's a whole other thing. Firing Steve Nash was just part of it, man. Y'all got a long way to go. You need to start firing some of them players. I mean, I'm just gonna put that out there. I don't care. Kyrie, Kevin Durant dropping 30 every night. That's still not enough for them to win. So what does that tell you? That's not working. Somebody got to play some defense for the Nets. Somebody got to step it up. And I'm not gonna say it's got to be Ben Simmons. It's got to be defense is a collective effort. If you learn anything from those old Spurs that won 5 championships with Greg Popovich and made it to like 6 or 7 of those things, man, the way that they did that was actually playing defense collectively. Tim Duncan wasn't the best defensive player by himself. Mary Nobley, Tony Parker, all those guys, the Brent Barrys, man, all those guys played good defense collectively. They saying that, and then on top of that, they saying Udoka going to the Nets. Man, come on. Come on, man. Man, get suspended from one job and then get another one like right quick. If he gets that job, then more power to him. I'm not mad that he's getting the job, but what is he actually going to do? Is he going to be able to turn them around the way that he done the Celtics? I know that's what the Brooklyn Nets are hoping that they see a championship with the coach that was just in a championship. The loser of last year's championship series. So I don't know, but. Um, Kyrie with all the stuff that's always swirling. I say it time and time again. The focus is never on Kyrie's game solely. It's always on the stunts or antics or whatever he has going on, whatever moves he have going on off the court. I mean, the bruh seemed like a smart bruh, or at least he seemed like a smart bruh. What is he doing? Like, man, focus on your game. Help your team win. Can we talk about that? How's Kyrie? What extra things are Kyrie doing to help the team win? Remember, he was talking about no coach. What are you doing? What are you doing to coach your players, to get your players geared up? What are you doing to motivate your players, Mister? I don't need a coach. We don't need a coach. We could take turns coaching. Where is that at on the court? Because I haven't seen it thus far this year. Now it's a long season, and they got time to turn it around. Maybe the right move, but in my mind, I'm calling this Steve Nash, the domino effect, because that's one domino down, and then we'll be looking at they'll be shipping players out here pretty soon, whether in the middle of the season, mid-season, or before the season's over, because I don't think that's going to work. It's time for them to go look a different direction. 4 years in and it ain't working. That's not going to work. It's not going to work, especially within that time frame. So it's time to look elsewhere. And Kevin Durant, Mister, I just want to play basketball. Man, you got to step up. I mean, if he stepped up and he used his voice, it might change a whole lot of things within the structure of that team. But as long as Kyrie does the whole anti-Semitic thing, and his punishment is not to talk to the media, is not to answer questions. I mean, that's Brooklyn's solution. So that tells you that Brooklyn has a whole lot of dysfunction going on over there, in my opinion. Man, sorry about that. I'm here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I don't know what that was. Like, it sounded like somebody was trying to come in my room. I don't know what's going on with that. But um, yeah, I'm in the lovely Salt Lake City, Utah, and I'm gonna take a moment to say, man, try out that energy drink. Nerd Focus, my man, Deshaun Stewart with that drink. Pop and get your brain right and your game tight with that Nerd Focus. Now, back to what I was talking about, man. It's not just Brooklyn though. I don't want to harp on Brooklyn because I want to keep it basketball and I want to see what they're going to do. But the Clippers are not what they're supposed to be. Like I said, the Nuggets are struggling a little bit. The Warriors, surprisingly, the defending champs are struggling a little bit out the gate. I'm not going to say it has anything to do with the whole situation with Draymond. I'm not going to even go there and think that has anything to do with it, but it just might. The Draymond Jordan Poole situation that might have something to do with but really and truly, it's teams coming for them right now, man. When you the champs, when you on top, they coming to knock you down. So they got to be ready every night. Steph Curry putting up decent numbers, but Clay doing a whole lot of talking, but not a whole lot of game right now. I defended him last week with the whole thing with Devin Booker because he was right, man. You got to get your championship game on, but at the same time, Clay, you got to come on with it, man. I mean, all is wait and see. The season is now. Things are starting, and before you know it, you'll find yourself in a big hole and trying to dig your way out of it. Some teams are gonna fall. I mean, Utah, like right now, I'm in Salt Lake City, and Utah is balling like crazy. The Celtics are balling, but Utah, surprise. And it shows you that if you got a bunch of veterans, it's a team game. A bunch of vets on the team, they led by like Jordan Clarkson and Markinson. Marketing, that's his name. I never heard of that guy, by the way. He's out nowhere. Well, I've heard of him, but I didn't know he was that good. He's impressive. Anyway, um, they just got a bunch of veterans going about their business, playing early on is paying off. We'll see if it's paying off mid to late season. You'll get a gauge on different things. Right now, two of the top teams in the East playing as we speak, the Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers. What a surprise. Now, I said it, and I stand corrected. Well, at least early on in the season, I stand corrected that I said that Donovan Mitchell move wasn't going to prove to be anything. But so far, I've been wrong. Looks like that's been a good move for them. I don't know if it's going to have them in the championship hunt, at the top because, it's stiff competition up there. I don't want to get into my whole love for Giannis thing, man, but the Greek Freak is like the best, man. That dude's the best basketball player, in my opinion. He's the best basketball player on the planet. And when he does come to play, it's like, the intangibles that I like to see from Giannis are those same intangibles that I've been waiting to see for the last year and a half, almost 2 years from Kawhi Leonard. I mean, Kawhi's a champion. So is Giannis. I mean, you got some champions out there that's playing this ball. I think Giannis is chasing his second, man, and he just might get it. I mean, he seems to have this hunger with him, at least early on. We'll see. Hopefully, he can keep that pace up, putting up MVP like numbers. He ain't the only one. It's a lot of them scoring 30 right now too. Jason Tatum dropping 30. It's a lot of players out there. Steph Curry dropping 30. It's players dropping 30 right now. Um, you know, really for me right now, it's too early to gauge basketball, except for the teams that are underperforming. It's like if you're like, for instance, let's go back to the Brooklyn Nets. If you're underperforming right now, what makes you think that even if you get into the playoffs without going through a play-in or you get a playoff spot, what makes you think that where your biggest weaknesses are exposed? What makes you think those weaknesses won't pop back up? Now, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals a few years ago, a couple of years ago, however many years ago it was, but it seems like an eternity. But and they were close to maybe making a championship run. But that man Giannis said, "Nah, not on my watch." I just got to see a little bit more fight from them on the defensive end. You think about it. Kevin Durant gets all this praise as being a prolific scorer in the league, a great scorer, a great, great creator with the rock in his hand. But you never hear anything about him defensively. Things that make a champion. Like, you know, I'm not even a huge LeBron fan, but I can say, remember that block on Iguodala in the finals? That was game winning right there. That changed things. And what a lot of people don't like to remember, I don't know how, some people too young to remember, but 98, when MJ, retired then and he was going out on top when the Bulls won a sixth. Remember what led up to that? It wasn't just him sinking the game winning shot. Remember on the other end of the court, they pressed and he stole the ball from Karl Malone. The defense, on the defensive end. If Karl Malone gets a shot up, no telling what happens in that game. But they prevented that. He stole the ball on one. I mean, those defensive moments that change games. Even last year in the finals, defense affected the Boston Celtics because their best defensive player, Marcus Smart, their best defensive player, Mr. Defensive Player of the Year, actually, um, he man, it's like he couldn't perform without the refs on his side. And you see how that impacted the whole Celtics team. Defense matters in the games, and I think that really have to play a little bit of defense. I mean, he wasn't getting away with that flopping, so and then he kept looking at the referees for like, hey man, take nothing away from Marcus Smart, man. He plays hard. But then you look at the Spurs are playing decent. All these other teams are playing decent. And we got the week. We'll see where teams are. Check in, check things out. But for my money, I'm still riding with the teams that I said. I'm still sticking with the Clippers right now, as of right now, to come out of the West, and I'm sticking with Milwaukee to come out of the East. I think those two teams will have the firepower when it's all said and done. But who knows, man? They keep playing with Kawhi. It's like we might not get to see some of the best basketball ever. I was looking forward to seeing great basketball this year. And Trez, and leaving that alone a little bit. Um, check out my gear and stuff at Snook One Productions at Spotify. Um, Now I want to, man, being a fan, Cowboys. I'm gonna jump into this NFL a little bit, bounce around a little bit, but the Cowboys, man. I like the points that we put up, but I don't want us to get too cocky, man. I can see it coming already. Like, I want us to have that same energy in meaningful games. So far, we've lost the two most meaningful games that we've had this year, and nobody's saying that. Everybody's saying, "Oh, our defense is great," but we lost out the gate to the Bucs, and who have the Bucs beaten lately? Look how pitiful they look. And I know it was game one, but we lost to that team. So we have to keep that in mind that we lost to that team. Not only that, we got to look at where we are right now as far as our positioning is pretty good. We got second in the NFC East, overtaking the Giants with their loss to Seattle this past weekend. But man, look at where we are right now, and then look at the other team, the Eagles. The Eagles are undefeated. We got to win some of the big games. We can't just keep beating. We struggled a little bit against Detroit. We handled our business against the Bears, who I think was more of a matchup than Detroit. But we put up a lot of points on the Bears. And I don't want to hear this talk about Pollard starting in front of Zeke and all that stuff, man. I don't care. As long as Pollard touches the ball, we got a good chance of breaking something. It doesn't matter if he starts or if he comes in the game early, late, however you play it, as long as he gets those touches. Now, I don't believe in that Jerry Jones. I don't believe what Jerry Jones saying though. I don't agree with. Oh, Zeke is the man, and Zeke runs powerful. Man, he ain't going nowhere. The proof is in the pudding. Zeke is just not, every now and then. I'm probably his longer. I bet you Zeke doesn't even have a 20-yard run on the season. If he does, it's barely. I mean, he's not that Ezekiel Elliott anymore, man. He's barely making the hole. Yeah, when defenses get worn down a little bit, he said he tends to run a little better. But Zeke is not that guy, man. Pollard is the way to go, but use him sparingly and use him the way that we've been using them, so that it's hard to prepare for him. I mean, you make it easy to prepare for him if he in the game all the time. So yeah, keep it the way it is, and let him keep surprising people with his speed and his agility and the whole and that versatility, man, coming out of the backfield, being able to catch passes. I think he's a better receiver than Zeke, but I want to see a little bit more of that, and it seems to help our offense flow. Now, moving from the Cowboys, man, this whole Brady talk, man. So Brady's divorce is final, so now he can focus on football. Or have they not been playing football? Have they not been in OTAs and all that stuff since July? Have they not been in preseason and stuff since July, August, and all that? Man, they've been playing football. Brady's divorce of being final is not going to help that defense. It's not going to change that defense around. I mean, I think it's a mentality with that team, and if that's what's affecting them, how is that affecting the whole squad? It may be affecting some of what Brady's doing out there. But if Brady is falling off, it's the quickest decline I ever seen. Because last year he was up there, he was one of the top quarterbacks, and he's still throwing the ball a lot. But I think that's part of the problem too. You can't expect this guy at 45 to go out there every game and throw the ball 50 times. I mean, they gotta come up with some kind of system, some kind of relief. Leonard Fournette, they need another running back or so. Maybe they should run the white guy. I think that's his name in the backfield, White. They should give it because sometimes when that guy touches the ball, he's moving the ball downfield. Maybe Leftwich should call more plays for him to run the rock, man. Because what I'm seeing from Leonard Fournette is just not cutting it. And then defense, stop digging yourself holes, and then maybe you can do something. Disappointed in Todd Bowles or Todd Bowles' defense as him as the head coach playing like that. Speaking of disappointment, I'm very disappointed in what's happening with Mike Tomlin this year. I mean, everybody fall off a little bit, but he had a franchise quarterback. They had a long term great quarterback that's probably going to be Hall of Fame and Ben Roethlisberger, and now they struggling. But they struggles is not just at the quarterback position. It's like I ain't gonna call it a lack of effort, but this Minka Fitzpatrick. That's what I want to talk about. He got beat so many times by AJ Brown this past weekend. And every time he hanging his head and he's snapping his fingers like, "Oh, I'm just right there." And one time he let the dude just walk right in the end zone right in front of him. Didn't even make an effort to try to tackle him. I mean, to me, it's like, man, do something, man. I mean, like, does losing just affect everybody, or does not believe in the system? I mean, because Fitzpatrick, he's been good throughout the years, but this year I don't see that same Minka Fitzpatrick that like I'm sure Pittsburgh fans are probably saying the same thing. Like, where is that guy that was all out? That guy that makes plays, that hard hitting safety out there? Where is that guy? Because he was getting burnt a little too easy, wasn't in position to make plays. And they double covering this guy and can't stop him from catching the ball, scoring touchdowns. I mean, it's crazy to me. But at some point, it's got to get better. Like, maybe, but not this year for Pittsburgh. I don't see Pittsburgh. I think they might win a few games just because it's Tomlin and he'll figure out how to win a couple of games. But it just doesn't look like they have enough. I'm not going to even say they don't have enough talent because on paper they actually look pretty good. And now that they've traded Claypool, I don't know. I guess it opens it up for some of the younger receivers. But Claypool, I would have kept Claypool. Yeah, I would have kept him. That's just me personally. Maybe he didn't want to be there anymore. Maybe he would become a disruption because guys want to win after a while. Like when you're used to winning, you don't want to go back. You don't want to go to losing. And that's what happens to a lot of these players coming out of college, like i.e. Justin Fields. Coming out of college, I'm sure in high school he was a winner. In college, he was always winning. And then you come to the pros and you're on a losing team. The Bears, they are playing hard. They look pretty good, and now that they got a weapon, which I'm gonna talk about the trades here in a little bit, but just looking at some of the past games, is like the Atlanta Falcons winning the NFC South. Come on, man. Come on. I like Mariota, and I think that he's been slept on. And I knew he was. I told y'all early on, if you listen to me, you would know he gonna do a little something. Like I knew he was gonna play, because what I'm starting to see now is coaches are starting to get the picture. That very thing that I talked about on my very first show here about coaching matching the players that you have, or matching the quarterbacks and stuff that you have. Stop trying to have these quarterbacks run these complex offenses and all this different stuff, when you can simplify it and say go out there and win the game. And more and more are relying on the quarterbacks to go out there and win the game. Sometimes it's too much pressure on the quarterback to win the game when they don't have anything. But I'm saying in key moments, they let just go out there and make plays. That's all he ever needed. And now you put Claypool with him. I don't know. I know it's going to help him somewhat, because Claypool can get open. Now he has a receiver that can get open, a threat downfield that he could, target here and there. But all this trying to make them pocket passes and running these crazy offenses, and when you don't have the offensive lines to protect. It's like, man, the name of the game is winning. The name of the game is winning. I mean, Tua is doing everything. Like I'm still not sold on Tua. Everybody's hype on the Dolphins, but they middle of the pack right now, regardless of how with Tua being hurt, whatever. They still middle of the pack. I don't see them being more than that. I see them probably making the playoffs, but that's about it, man. I don't see them really making a whole lot of noise. Now they could prove me wrong, because Tua's been proving me wrong. He's been playing way better. Um, I'm still not ready to take back my words. One hot season doesn't make you NFL ready. Fitzpatrick had a hot season. Nick Foles had a hot run here and there. I mean, it's been a lot of quarterbacks that had hot runs. Heck, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Talk about a hot year. He did what he had to do that was necessary to win a Super Bowl. So, hey, I don't want to hear all that talk right now. As far as, we're going to see it with crunch time, when it's really time and everything's on the line. I mean, the Bills are looking great. And some people have been down on the Packers for taking that beat down that they took, but that beat down was at the hands of a team that's far more superior, man. Like the Bills, I watched the Bills and the Eagles this past weekend. I saw both of their games this past weekend, and I tell you what, I'm wondering who can stop either one of those teams, for real. The Eagles can beat you so many ways, and that defense is aggressive. That defense is getting after. Oh man, they're not just getting after the quarterback. They shutting everything down. Your run game, your pass game. I mean, they got lockdown cornerbacks. Two lockdown cornerbacks. Bradbury is surprising. We knew what Slay was about, but Bradbury, man, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what the Eagles are doing. I can't believe I'm saying that out of my mouth, but yeah, how are you going to stop that? A quarterback that can run, throw. I mean, this dude dropping dimes out there. Like Jalen Hurts, I said that was the one thing that you had to see. Could he pass the ball? Man? And then he comes out the very next game and like, shut your mouth, man. Like, just shut up. This is what I'm going to do. And he shredded that defense. Like, impressive. They can run, they can pass. It's going to be hard to stop them. Uh, the Bills, man, come on. Josh Allen is like out of this world. Like if it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes in the league, I think Josh Allen would be that guy. But it's still Patrick Mahomes. But Josh Allen is saying, "Hey, I'm here. I'm a force to be reckoned with." That whole team too. Man, they playing good defense. They playing solid D. I think they got a little weaknesses. I think you can run the ball at them though. I think they so aggressive to go after the quarterback that you can run the ball on. I think if you really set yourself to it, you can run the ball on the Buffalo Bills. However, if you're going to try to match pass for pass, then you're going to be out of there. Um, I think the Dolphins' approach when the Dolphins beat them was a little bit of run and a little bit of pass. Which the Dolphins made that move trade wise. Picking up Bradley Chubb. So they trying to say that now we going. It's purely to go after the Josh Allen in their division. And maybe Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. I mean, at least in my mind, that's what they gearing up for. The Dolphins are saying that they for real after being accused of having a coach tank games. Now they saying, hey, you know what? we're gonna go after it. I'm seeing teams go all in to try to win now. The Bears, I feel like the Bears did the same thing with Claypool, saying we're not gonna wait another year to try to develop Justin Fields. We're gonna do it on the fly. We're gonna go get him a receiver and see what he does with a receiver. Because they paying attention, they seeing what's going on with Hurts. They seeing how that helps them out tremendously having two good really good receivers. He got two really good receivers, so give him something to work with. If Lamar Jackson, imagine if Lamar Jackson had AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, man, it would be a wrap as far as offensively for the Ravens. And the Ravens, they made a good move getting Roquan Smith. Now I don't understand the moves on the Bears defensive end. I don't understand why they're getting rid of defense. I would have kept Roquan. I mean, Roquan, one of the best linebackers out there. He's a beast at that position, and there's not too many of them that's really killing it at the linebacker position right now. The ones that we thought that would be killing it, they're not really killing it all that much. Um, so I really look at some of the moves being made, but we know that the Ravens have to try to shore up their defense if they definitely had a weakness blowing those leads in games. The defense really got to come with it. But now it's going to be interesting. The swing week, as far as um, 8 games for a lot of teams, 7 games for others. But those that had the bye weeks, but 8 games in, I'm really seeing, man, the NFC is wide open. And all this talk, I will say Christian McCaffrey looked like he was worth it. He was worth whatever the 49ers gave up to get him. But that's only 2 games. Like, his second game was way better than the first. No Debo Samuels, they were still able to handle business against the Rams, which the Rams have fallen apart. The Rams were a surprise to me last year to make the Super Bowl. I didn't see it from Matthew Stafford, but then this year. They right where I thought they would be last year. I don't really see much from them, and it's a combination of things. A part of it, they haven't stepped into the challenge of teams coming at them, and the other part is maybe a little bit of Super Bowl hangover, but really and truly effort. I see a lack of effort, and I see Matthew Stafford targeting one guy, but he did the same thing when he was in Detroit and he had Calvin Johnson. Man, you target one guy, it's like spread the ball around. You're a quarterback, throw it to somebody else. Throw it to somebody else, and not only that, for to have the best defensive player in the league, um, well, next to Michael Parsons now. I think Michael Parsons is going to overtake that in a minute. But having Aaron Donald, is not paying off right now. And everybody keeps saying, "Oh, they lost Von Miller." Man, they didn't have Von Miller all season, most of the season last year. I mean, early on in the season, that Aaron Donald was wrecking shop. They didn't have. I mean, so I don't want to blame it on that. What I'm seeing is no excuses. McVay's supposed to be this mastermind. Figure it out. Figure it out. But I see a lack of effort from the players. Um, yeah, it's just lack of effort. And not just mention, they played the 49ers, who always beat them in the regular season. So it wasn't a surprise, but the surprise was those Seahawks, man. Those Seahawks, man. Yeah, Pete Carroll doing his thing over there. The Seahawks, I mean, they beat the Giants. I mean, that was a tough game, and they beat them convincingly. They didn't scrape by. They beat them convincingly. Whatever Pete Carroll are doing in Seattle, man, keep doing that. Keep working it. I just came from the Seattle area also, and there's a lot of people on that bandwagon now. They probably wasn't on that bandwagon before. Like, what were we doing? And I was one of those early on preseason and stuff saying, man, what are they gonna get? Remember me saying what they gonna get out of Geno Smith? It's like, man, they getting the most out of Geno Smith. Hey, you gotta like what they doing. Um, Other teams that I think sneaky right now that you can't sleep on. The Minnesota Vikings, man. I don't know. People always take them for joke, and I take them for joke too because I lived up in that area. At some point, I expect them to fold, cave, or something. But you never know. Maybe this year might be the year that Kirk Cousins puts it all together and they go all in and they do something. Because Minnesota's always had a decent defense. And they've always been able to play offensively since they've had Kirk Cousins. The problem is the quarterback. At some point, when you start putting that pressure on Kirk Cousins, his mind don't click right, man, and he start throwing the ball to the other team, or he start fumbling the rock. He makes a lot of mistakes in crucial moments in big games. So we're gonna see if Kirk changed that. Now that his team's confident and it looks like they're gonna win that division easily, which leads me to I don't even really want to talk about them too much, man. But the Packers, but ha 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 is all I can say about Green Bay. I thought that they would be a force to be reckoned. I said that man, Rodgers, he could play with anybody. He could do whatever what receivers. No man, though But Aaron Rodgers, like I said last week, stop playing the blame game. He always plays that blame game. But that has nothing to do with what's happening on the field. What's happening on the field is their hearts being taken. Their hearts being taken week after week after week. It's not just. It's about the drop passes, but it's also about the communication amongst the players and the understanding that hey man, we all got a job to do out here. Um, some of it is a lack of effort, especially defensively. How can you be out of position every time? Do you not know what you're supposed to be doing? Do y'all not practice the defense? Like I'm seeing so many guys out of place. There's so many guys taking poor angles to the ball, and then when they get to the ball, the poor tackling. Two teams that I never thought I'd see a whole lot of poor tackling from, and that's Green Bay and that's Tampa Bay. Poor tackling, man. Wrap up when you get there. And speaking of poor play, and I'm loving it. As a diehard fan of anybody other than Derek Carr's and those Raiders, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And how many cracks is Josh McDaniels going to get? How long they going to let that ride? How long is the Raiders organization going to let that ride where this dude comes in, studied under the greatest? He studied under the greatest ever. It ain't learned nothing. Isn't that ironic? It's like you studied under Bill Belichick and ain't learned nothing. Where your defense at? You ain't learned nothing. Defense wins championships. You got Super Bowl trophies. You know what it took to win them. But he tried all that fancy stuff. It's like, yo, they can't even run simple plays. I mean, they can't even run simple screen passes. And, trying to run reverses, man, anytime. This is my philosophy. Maybe it's just me, diehard fan, whatever. Um, but my philosophy is the team that starts with those trick plays, that comes out with the trick plays, that's going to be the team that's normally going to lose. I mean, you just saying you can't line up and just beat a team straight up. You can't go at them. But you see the teams, especially in the NFC, you see the teams that's wrecking shop right now. They physical, defensively and offensively. They running the ball right at you. You know what they're going to do in certain situations. If you stop it here and there, you stop it. But they still coming all game long. The Philadelphia Eagles are running the rock at people. And then when they say, hey, oh, you going to gang up on the run? Oh, now my receivers are one-on-one. We throwing this ball. I mean, for real. You looking at the Las Vegas Raiders, I don't know. I didn't expect them to be that sorry, y'all. I didn't expect them to be that sorry, but they are that sorry. They are pitiful, Um, I didn't expect McDaniels to have a great season. I mean, I just don't like him as a coach, as a head coach. I think he's good under the wing of Bill over there. He needs to go back and see his boy Bill again and learn some more, man, because this is your second time around, and it looked worse than the first time, at least right now. Maybe you could turn it around, but it looks worse than when I think he was Kansas City. Yeah, Kansas City. It looks worse than your Kansas City experiment when you took Matt Castle. Man, come on. But I expected more. You expect more from certain people. I mean, but but how many coaches that have left Bill Belichick have really, that have coached on Bill Belichick's sideline have really been something. A lot of them end up going back. Look at Joe Judge right back over there. What's his name? Right back over there. Matt Patricia. Those guys go right back. Vrabel holding his own. With Tennessee, but the Romeo Cromwells, a lot of those dudes, man, they just don't pan out. It's like Bill keeping all the secrets for himself, or these guys haven't picked up a thing, or they try to say that if I was running a team, that I'd do it this way. No, man. Look at what's worked for Bill all those years and stick with that, because the Patriots are not out of it. Now, do I think they're going to make any noise? No. Because just last week I was sitting up here saying Bill off his rocker, he finally named a quarterback. He finally found one to stick with. But he was playing two quarterbacks. I don't know. Like, I think Bill just coming down to that point where, hey, it might be time for him to walk away from the game, or at least switch it up from New England or something, or start splitting better duties. I mean, I don't know. I expected New England to be tough. I expected them to leapfrog the Dolphins. I didn't expect the Dolphins to be where they are. And the Jets, the Jets, they took a beat down this past weekend by the Patriots. But it's always a struggle for them. They haven't beat the Patriots in a long time. Like they haven't beat the Patriots in a long time. So you expect certain things to happen. It's sort of like the Texans beating up on the Jaguars. Like you just haven't beat them in a long time. It's like at some point you got to win some of those. You got to win some of those games. If you the Jets, you got to win a game that's going to make it. That's going to be pivotal. And they could have ran away with things and solidified, but now they let Miami catch up to them. It's going to be a struggle for the Jets to do anything, but they looking good. I still like what they got. Maybe they going downhill without Brees Hall, but you putting too much pressure on Zach Wilson. Stick with the formula, man. Run the rock. That's what got you where you are. Run the rock, play action. That's what's been helping the Jets. And defense, 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 defense. It's a lot of good defenses. I said that last week. It's a lot of good defenses out there. I'm like I said, I like what Philly and the Bills are doing. I'm liking what the Cowboys are doing. The Vikings defense is stepping up. And what about those Saints? They blanked the Raiders. I mean, the Saints have a defense. The Falcons are playing decent defense. It's a lot of teams. The 49ers are playing defense. The NFC, the theme is a lot of teams are playing good defense and they got running games. They can run the rock. Of course, they got these all-world quarterbacks and stuff. These quarterbacks, well, some of them do. Or these quarterbacks are supposed to make plays. But, 49ers, they still got to worry about Jimmy G coughing it up, choking, going down the stretch. And you also got to look at, I look at who can make meaningful plays. I would like to say that Dak can make meaningful plays, but we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it yet. Um, some of the biggest things, before I get into picks and all that, um, some of the biggest keys I saw in some of the games that I watched. Not the Bears, the Giants. They playing, even though they lost, they were still playing with a lot of confidence. Like they could have turned it around any moment. That's a scary thing. And now that Daniel Jones has all this confidence, we knew what Saquon was going to bring to the table. But the whole team has confidence, and that's going to be a scary picture. Come playoff time, come crunch time, if they stick with what they're doing right now, no injuries, they're gonna be a tough out. And even the Commanders have picked it up. Which, by the way, good news is they're saying that the Snyders are looking into possibly selling the team. It's about time. But um, the Commanders, they turned it around. Like Ron Rivera is not a slouch of a coach. He did pretty decent when he was with the Carolina Panthers, and he went to a Super Bowl. Um, how many coaches in the league can say that they've done that right now? Current coaches can say that they've actually made it there, win or lose. And Ron Rivera is one of them. He knows what it takes to win. But I think Taylor Heineke is the dude from here on out. If they go back to Carson Wentz, then they don't play. They never planned on winning. Then you know that their strategy was a tank. Their strategy was to tank if they go back. Mark my words. If they go back with Carson Wentz, their strategy was to tank. I mean, that's just my opinion. Now, it may not play out that way, but that's what I think it is. I think they plan on tanking, man. Like you gotta come with some, especially right now in the NFC East. Like they evened it up. Like think about this. I said this the other day. The Washington Commanders had the same record as the San Francisco 49ers, who are people are real high on and saying that they might make it to the Super Bowl or they're going to be challenging for the Super Bowl. Let that sink in. The Washington Commanders have the same record. They have a better record than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now and the Green Bay Packers right now. Who would have thunk it? Definitely not me. I wouldn't have thought that. I wouldn't have thought like not at all. I mean, I don't like nothing about the Commanders, especially being a division rival. Also, I have no love for anybody in our division. Let's get that right off the top. Anybody in the Cowboys division, I had no love. However, I gotta respect what's going on, and what I'm seeing is that, man, could you possibly see all four teams making the playoffs? Possibly, if these teams keep playing, the Rams don't look like they're gonna make it. I know you gotta have it's four division leaders and then three other spots. You know what I'm saying? So you're looking at you know if everything keeps the way it's going, you might just see that Cowboys, Giants, and Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders. You might just see that as the three teams making those wild card spots. You know, uh, you never know. Um, could be could be something interesting to look at. I mean, I know you say, well, Seattle and San Fran have man way to sit back and see. You know, you don't know the NFC West gonna beat each other up, and it look like like I'm interested to see how the 49ers gonna catch the Seahawks. I mean, you're a game behind them or whatever. I'm interested to see how you gonna overtake them. And all these other expectations. The Cardinals are not out of it. It's teams that's still in the running, but week after week, we'll be discussing that, and we'll be looking at the things that as a fan, the things I pay attention to. It's not just, normally I love stats, but this year I haven't really been paying attention to too many stats, except for here and there, stats, because I shifted my focus a little bit, probably for this platform and my other platform, but to pay attention to man, who really wants it in the winning aspects, what it takes to win. It takes a lot to win in those professional sports, no matter what sport you're in. Football, baseball, basketball, soccer, it doesn't really matter. It takes a whole lot to win. And what I'm starting to see is, like I said, in the NFL, the coaches are starting to just now get it that if you have the quote unquote African American quarterback or the black quarterback or whatever you want to call it, athletic quarterback, whatever, you know. No disrespect to Josh Allen, man, because he's balling. Like he's an athletic quarterback. He's good at what he does. But if you have these quarterbacks, then you have to let them go out there and play ball. Which, by the way, I forgot to say, dang, it's about time. It took them going all the way to London, but by the time you get off the schneid, as they say, Denver Broncos, uh, Jacksonville just suffering heartbreak after heartbreak. By the way, they playing hard. They remind me of the Detroit Lions early on in the season, where you're playing hard, but you're just not getting it done. Um, and before I get into my NFL picks, I'm gonna send another shout out to that nerd focus. Get your game, what I'm saying? Get your brain right and your game tight. Sorry about that. But check it out. Um, Real briefly, I'm gonna talk about college football, the playoff polls. Well, there's been this big deal about this poll comes out. But college football, they do what they want to do, and of course, in the top four teams, which those teams are looked to make a big difference. The top four teams right now, two of them are SEC teams. Is that a surprise to anybody? Georgia and Tennessee. I think the only surprise is that it's not Bama, but Georgia and Tennessee. And then you got like Ohio State and Clemson. I think let's just throw the Big Ten in there, and then and then throw Clemson in there because Clemson is always tough. I'm not saying that these teams are not tough, but then you look at you go down a little bit further. Michigan sitting at 5. They got Alabama at 6, and they got TCU at 7. I'm like, my biggest thing as a diehard fan, TCU. Why are they at 7? Why are they not? Why are they not 6? Why are they not higher? They play just as many ranked opponents as Alabama, if not more. It can't be strength of schedule or something. I mean, is it just being in that Big 12 or whatever they in, man? That's holding them back. I don't understand that one. Michigan on the outside looking in, but we already knew that it was either going to be Michigan or Ohio State, and it's going to come down to that game between them to decide which one of them is really going to make that run. Probably, so. If Ohio State wins, they get them out. If Michigan wins, then so that's on the horizon. But a team like TCU who can only do so much, I mean, you're beating every opponent in front of you. Like I said, you're running through the top 25, and then you're still not good enough to leapfrog Alabama. Like Alabama gets a one loss, and yeah, they lost to Tennessee. Um, Tennessee and Georgia, that's probably going to bump one of them out of it or something, unless something happens, crazy. I mean, I look for Bama to be in it one way or another. I mean, and that's the NCAA way of keeping Bama in the picture, man. They never go. I mean, no disrespect to Saban. I like Saban. I like what he does with that organization. But man, sometimes, man, y'all should drop, especially when y'all lose one game. I mean, and then y'all lost to a surprising team. I mean, would Tennessee be ranked as high right now if they didn't beat Bama? I mean, let that sink in. One win on a resume. Even though my Heisman favorite is Henderson Hooker right now. I like him. I like what he's doing, man. If y'all haven't seen the Tennessee Volunteers play, watch that kid, man. That kid gonna be special for years to come. Like as long as he stays healthy, he gonna be a force to be reckoned with. I like what he's doing. Um, I just for me, it's like what's on Tennessee's resume, other than that win. Okay, they beat Kentucky. But there it is again. The SEC, all you have to do is beat a couple of teams in the SEC, and then the rest of your schedule can be junk, and then you right there in the thick things. I just don't like that philosophy. Not every team in the SEC is performing up to a level where they are tough. That's my thing with Alabama. It's like who is Alabama? You know, beating. That's they struggled against certain teams, but somehow they TCU running through teams. I think they've only had one close game or something, and it's just the difference. To me, it's all rigged. It's all rigged for the SEC to win that. So it kind of takes some of the fun out. But looking at some of those players that's playing their hearts out, it's a lot of players. Next week, I'll be previewing some of those players, man, that you could be looking forward to see it on Sundays, Thursday, and Thursday nights, because it's quite a few out there that can ball. Some ball harder than others. A Corum, man, that running back, Michigan, they got themselves a workhorse right there. In college, they can still run the ball that way. In the pros, he won't be used nearly as much as he is in college. But it's getting him that light, and I think he'll be around the Heisman Trophy when it's all said and done. I mean, man, he running that rock. He running that rock at a pace that's impressive, even for college. You know, Michigan as a unit are running the rock decent, but this Corum guy, man, he's really putting it on. Um, and again, before I get into my picks um, for this upcoming week, especially game tomorrow, Eagles and Texans. Um, I want to go back real quick to this NBA, and I want to say this. I want to say this. Um, as much as I support the NBA and I want to see the best players and stuff like that, injuries are no joke. So uh, tonight you'll see Zion and LeBron go ahead up. That should be a good matchup. Old versus new. Um, and it's good to see Zion on the court. I'll be watching that. It'll be my first full look at Zion this season, other than catching glimpses of a game and some highlights here and there. I know that's got to be exciting. The city of New Orleans got to be on fire that they got something to root for. With the struggles of the Saints, they got something else to look forward to. The Pelicans, and I think it's going to be monumental. I think that uh, depending on how Zion performs, I'm not going to say it's a passing of the torch, but because it's no for me. I don't like the passing of the torch. You got to MJ that thing. You got to come snatch it. Come take the torch. Take the torch and go on about your business. If you that raw, that's what I want to see from Zion. Like this is me. This is what we're gonna do now. Your time is over, and LeBron has to respect that. But hats off to them both. Hopefully they put on a good show. Entertaining for the fans. That's good to watch tonight. And the Stros, I'm hoping to, and I'm gonna go back and say it again. Stros need to even the series up tonight. I'm sure that game's already going on. I haven't seen the score yet, but Stros need to pull it out tonight. Um, and now I'm gonna jump into my picks. Um, with another shout out to Sports America for putting me on. Thank y'all. And also check out my other show, the Stimulate Your Mind show, 5:30 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday, where I'm just talking random stuff. My show next week will be talking, will be about the death of rapper Takeoff, which, by the way, I want to say, Takeoff goes along with sports and things like that. Condolences. To Takeoff's family and stuff like that. Houston, the city of Houston, what we doing, man? When people come to visit us, that's not the way that we should respond, man. No one should have to lose their lives for whatever reason. And me personally, I hope they catch whoever did it. just gonna leave it at that. Again, condolences to Takeoff's fam. Um, and now, like I said, tomorrow Eagles and Texans. I mean, there's no question. Every time I went with the Texans, they've lost. So, but I know the Eagles are going to run through them on a Thursday night game. I don't expect the Texans to put up much of a fight to be prepared. Hopefully, they surprise me, but I doubt it. Um, Patriots Colts. I'm taking the Patriots in that game, even though I feel like Ellinger and the Colts have a good chance of winning that game. Um, I'm going with yeah, I'm going with the Patriots. Um, Packers Lions, man, now that's a game. But I'm going to take the Lions in that one. I don't think the Packers are going to right their ship this year, so just write them off. I'm going to write them off and say that if the Lions win that game, they done. Chargers Falcons. I'm going with the ooh, that's a close one, but I'm gonna take the Falcons in that one. I think the NFC, like I said, they good at running the ball and defensively. I know the Chargers have a pretty good defense, but I think the Falcons are gonna pull that out. Bills Jets, where we know which side I'm leaning on. The Jets are gonna compete, but the Bills, man, who could stop them? I mean, I know they got one loss on their record, but I'm saying who could stop them right now? Who could stop? I don't think anybody can stop Buffalo. So, Vikings, Commanders. I'm gonna take the Vikings in that one, even though I just gave the Commanders props. Um, Shout out again for to the Snyders for finally moving that organization. Dan Snyder, thank you, man. Um, but the Vikings are gonna win that game. Barely though. It's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be a struggle because the Commanders are going to come to play. Um, Panthers Bengals. It's another one of those games where it's a toss up, man. The Panthers can win that game, but I'm gonna go Bengals. I'm gonna err on the side of caution and say that Joe Burrow, they'll figure it out at least enough to kick a couple of field goals to beat the Panthers. Raiders Jaguars. I'm just, Jaguars all the way. Jaguars all the way. To me, it doesn't even matter if the Raiders win that game. They so far out of it, and they've been such a disappointment to those that support them. But they right where I want them. I mean, for real. Like I just didn't think that the Devontae Adams move was going to help them out, and it hasn't helped them out. You need more than that. Than go and play with my buddy. Um, but Jaguars, I like what you know. Jaguars, even though they traded, they got Calvin Ridley, and he won't play this year. He's suspended for gambling in the league and stuff like that. I think that's going to be beneficial to helping Trevor Lawrence out in the long run. Good move. Um, Dolphins, Bears. Now this is going to be a surprise. I'm taking the Bears in that game. And this is why. I think Justin Fields going to run around like a chicken with his head cut off, and he's going to sling the rock to Claypool. It's going to be awesome to watch. And the Bears have a decent secondary. They don't have a strong secondary, but as you saw against Dallas, uh, and the Dolphins haven't proven that they can just run the ball right at you. So I think that secondary is going to have a decent day. I look for a couple of interceptions by Tua, even though they've given up on the defensive end. Now that might change things without the Roquan Smiths and stuff, but I still think the Bears might come with. I'm still taking the Bears. Seahawks, Cardinals. I'm taking the Seahawks in that one. Gino doing his thing, man. Uh, you know, uh, Cardinals. I'm not a fan of Kingsbury. I'm not even a fan of Kyler Murray. I mean, I like Kyler Murray when he was in college, coming out doing his thing, and for an undersized QB, repping for the smaller quarterbacks and stuff like that, man. But really and truly, um, he just doesn't do enough to really impact the game the way that I thought he would. Um, Rams Buccaneers. I'm taking the Bucks in that one. I say that the Bucks are gonna go ahead and get things right. Um, at least get a win right there because I have no faith in Matthew Stafford and the Rams. Um, Titans Chiefs. That's gonna be a good one. But come on, Patrick Mahomes. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes in that one. Enough said. Juju Smith Schuster. Yep, fan of his also. He can play uh, Ravens Saints. Whew, man, that's the Monday night game, Ravens Saints. Ooh, that Saints defense is gonna be tough against Lamar. But I'm gonna go Ravens. I'm gonna say the Ravens gonna win like a field goal game or something. It'll probably be 12-9 or 10-9 or something. It probably won't be a whole lot of scoring in that game. But it's gonna be good to watch. We go see we're gonna see what the Ravens defense now looks like, you know, and we're gonna see how aggressive they are. I like Queen over there, man. They got some players, you know. Um, Speaking of defense, I got to give a shout out to that boy for the Patriots, man. Every week, Matthew Judon, man, number 9. That boy can play. That boy can play. It's some players out there, number 11 for the Dallas Cowboys, but you know, certain players that are really impacting the game right now, really making a difference. And with the last few minutes of this show, um, I really want to touch on all sports as far as what they mean to people. Like these are the moments that we live for. It's going into the holiday swing, and so you got Thanksgiving and all that stuff, Christmas and all that stuff coming up, and you got football, basketball. You got hockey. Um, which I'll talk a little bit more hockey next week. But you got so much going on, um, and it's an entertaining time. Um, I've bashed, I came out the gate bashing the NBA for not putting on good products, but now look how many players we got averaging 30 points. See, it's like they listening. It's like they listening and stuff. Well, some of them are listening. It's like the leagues are listening. It's like they paying attention to what the people want. The people want to see great the greatest do their thing. I mean, that's why we watch. That's why we tune in. And through the heartbreaks, the good times and the bad times, diehard fans ride with their teams. I've taken a lot of disrespect here lately over how trash the Yankees turned out in the end. But I gotta take it. Like it is what it is. I'm sure I'm not the only one. You know. Um, and as sure as when the playoffs come around, if my Cowboys don't do anything, then my hometown, fam, they gonna be giving me the blues over them Texans, man. I mean, it's us over my Cowboys sitting at home with them or whatever, man. So Cowboys, we gotta stay. It's still a while to go in the season, but we gotta stay the course and we gotta actually make an impact in the playoffs this year. I do not want to hear it. I do not want to hear it that we did all that and ended up right where they at. No, we got to do some Super Bowl for us this year, or at least NFC Championship game, a memorable game. I wouldn't be mad if it's a throwback championship game. You know, too early to say that, but I wouldn't mind if it was a San Francisco 49er Dallas Cowboy, rematch, but this time in the NFC Championship game. That was the divisional round last year, or wild card round last year, excuse me, and we got crushed. Um, but I'm looking forward to um, the great games, the great matchups, which is you see that's what the NFL has tried to do. I don't know why they put the Eagles. Maybe it is Jalen Hurts playing in front of the home crowd. I mean, I don't know what the Eagles and the Texans are about on the Thursday night game. Um, I can't see what would have made that game, that matchup monumental on the Thursday night game. They could have done better than that game, but I respected Jalen Hurts, another H Town boy. He going home to play in front of his home crowd tomorrow night. With his home, you know, tomorrow night hometown. We'll see what happens. Don't count the Texans out. Like they're not gonna just roll over. They're gonna come out and they're gonna play hard. They played hard. That's why they got one win and a tie on their record. They haven't just caved the teams. The Texans just don't have enough talent, and I don't like that organization. I've said that plenty of times, but you can't fault the players for the organization. The players, they gotta play for somebody, and they gotta get those checks. They tried to trade Brandon Cooks, that didn't work out for him. Cooks still stuck where he is. I heard my Cowboys are trying to get him, which by the way, I'm glad we didn't get him because we don't need that. Um, Sit back and wait for OBJ, man. I think we got a good chance of getting OBJ. Odell Beckham, come on the Cowboys. I'm gonna say that until somebody has him on their roster. Some of the trades that was made, it was 10 trades today, and I ain't touch on them all. But the ones that I did touch on, uh, those are the ones that I think, Chubb is going to be the most. It's going to be the biggest splash, in my opinion. The Chubb and the Claypool. Those are going to be the two biggest. Next year, you'll see the Calvin Ridley and what he does with Trevor Lawrence. You won't see that this year, but to me, those are the biggest trades. Um, and now, right before I get out of here, since I got a few seconds left, again, thanks to Sports for America for putting me on, and don't forget to check me out at the Stimulate Your Mind Show or the simshow.com. And you can reach out to me at Cornelius Cole at Facebook, the Sim Show, Instagram, and also it's the People's Coach, man, signing off. Catch y'all next week.